Calling from a 321 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? 321.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just a little bit louder, please. Who's this?
Hey,
Where are you
Sam.
calling from?
I hope this is better. This is Joe from Florida.
Joe from Florida. What's on your mind?
Hey there, Sam. So I had a couple questions coming from the very special state of Florida about maybe like a previous this sanctimonious fellow, but I guess he's not too important right now. But
Okay.
I have a different question that I got to see. It's been in my mind for the past couple months from you guys, and I'm actually kind of happy that Matt kind of brought it up to me today to kind of point out that this is something that's been bothering me with you guys.
Okay.
I've loved you guys with peace and love. I appreciate every one of you guys.
Okay.
And I agree with like almost everything you guys have to say.
Great.
But I'm kind of getting a little irritated by the little side swipes against David Pakman. I'm not a David Pakman stan, but I haven't seen you guys ever do a segment about why it is that Matt specifically does some like clotheslines from the back end there to just go, boom, I'm going to do a David Pakman thing. And then you usually hear somebody go like, oh, did he really do that? Oh, wow. Oh, whoa, he did. But then I never see anything coming from you, Sam, like you're tolerating it or you're ignoring it. So I just want to see like one of two things. Can you guys address what it is that you guys have against them? Because you guys used to be pretty friendly with them. Or
I mean, I'm
is this
friendly
just something that
with
like
Pakman.
it's like one disagreement or something?
I'm friendly with Pakman. I was just responding to an IM.
We had an IM.
Yeah.
We didn't raise it.
Right.
I take IMs just like I take this call. And someone, and I read it off or I let them say what they want to say.
And when I think we were pretty,
it's-
I'll just speak for myself because you mentioned me. I mean, I think we were pretty clear and we haven't brought it up over and over again. Like you said, this brought it up because of an IM. But I had an issue when he's decided to not really talk about Israel-Palestine, but the extent that he decided it was time to say Rashida Tlaib should apologize. I have a problem with entering this sort of discussion like that. And I said, we talked about it then, and that's where we left it.
I will say that just for the record, any liberal or progressive commentator that is not speaking every day or covering this genocide with the requisite outrage and facts that are proportionate to, the atrocities being committed is somebody that I don't necessarily think is a trustworthy source going forward. So I don't watch David Pakman, but based on what I've heard, that seems like very much in keeping with his coverage or lack thereof.
And that's why people IM about it, because other people notice it too. I don't know why you don't notice it.
And I will say,
let me help elaborate, I guess, why I don't notice it. So I do appreciate your guys' response. And again, peace and love. I really appreciate anything you guys can give as input on this, because I don't think I've ever quite maybe got what you guys are seeing. I do understand, I think, from one perspective here that David Pakman certainly has not talked about the Israel-Gaza situation like you guys have, which kudos to you guys for that. But he's focusing more on, typically, because I watch you guys both every day. So it's not like I'm only favoring one or the other. I definitely don't see him as a Jimmy Dore type. I definitely don't see him as someone
he's a Jimmy Dore type at all.
Just because he's making
I'm
books
saying
or something,
by not covering the genocide, he's apologizing for it.
I'm saying, like, even if he wants to ignore it because he knows that nobody wants to hear what he has to say on it, that's fine. If you are going to stick your oar in, don't make it to try to come after one of the few representatives who's good on the issue. I have a big problem with that.
If I can make a correlation with one thing, which I think I can tie this in maybe better, but maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. So like when the Young Turks, they had that pretty bad take on trans rights about, the Democrats should just drop that as an issue because it's not something they can win. I would totally agree with you guys.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Hold on. Okay, let me ask you a question.
You can certainly still
question.
appreciate them for the right things that they're still doing.
Yes,
Anna and Jen have been great on
this. What is our criticism about
coverage? So
we haven't said anything except for the criticism of his Israeli coverage. And I have not watched any clips or whatnot. I just got an IM, and I will say this, and I feel quite confident in saying this. If Sam Harris is in a conversation with you and Israel or Islam or the Palestinians come up and you do not get into an argument with him, you are on the wrong side of the issue. Now, I know that's a little bit hyperbole, and I know it's not thoughtful, but I know where Sam Harris is in this. I could probably, if you gave me 5 minutes of just spewing words, I can without a doubt come up with a Sam Harris quote in that interview that I did not see, because I know where Sam Harris is on this. And if you do not have an argument with Sam Harris, then in my estimation on this issue, you are espousing bullshit. That's it. And if here's the problem. The real problem is you can't navigate this in your mind. It is too hard for you to be able to appreciate both of our content and reconcile this. This is a you problem, not an us problem. We're just responding to an IM about Pakman's coverage on a specific issue that I know that Pakman and I have had disagreements about this for over a decade. And you are just having trouble reconciling it. If you want to argue Sam Harris's position, then do it. If you want to argue a different position than we have, by all means, then do it. But to call up and say, why can't you agree with a different commentator because it's upsetting me that you're not agreeing with each other, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, so Sam, I'm not saying something that drastic. Like, I'm not saying I hate you because you don't agree.
What are you
with
saying?
No, I don't care if you're saying I hate you.
What I'm attempting to convey, and I apologize, is I just routinely, the reason I'm bringing this up, like I originally said, like I would have had something with DeSantis I would have brought up instead, but I just noticed that every so often, it's not every day, it's not every week, but then something specifically comes from like Matt that's like a sideline hit with David Pakman, but there's no real explanation other than like a laugh and giggle thing, like a high school thing.
We just gave you
just gave it
our
to you.
explanation.
We just gave it to you.
Matt's derision is completely warranted, and honestly, I would go harder if I wasn't trying to be nice. So, like, I mean,
I guess what I'm asking is, would you consider actually having a segment to where you're explaining this so that it seems more like there's
That's
a
what this
rationale
is.
rather
That's what
than
this
one
call
thing?
is.
Listen, our segment is every day when we talk about this issue. You can put it 2 plus 2 together. Look at his stance. Tell me his stance on Israel and Palestine.
I have no idea what his stance is on Israel.
Okay, then what are you talking about? You just told me you listen to him every day.
He doesn't really cover it because that's not his thing that he's.
That's a stance in and of itself.
What did Emma just say?
I understand that it is a problem, and
What
I'm
did Emma
just
just say?
Similarly to the Young Turks making a bad call.
What did Emma just say 2 minutes ago?
Rights.
What did Emma just say 2 minutes ago?
About what?
She said, if you are a liberal commentator, okay, this is not me saying this. Emma said this. If you're a liberal commentator and you're not covering it, then I feel that you are doing a disservice and you're providing misinformation. Now, you can agree or disagree with that statement, but she has addressed what you're talking about.
Could we agree that perhaps you guys are certainly much better and more equipped and more focused on this topic, where he's just shifting in a different way, focusing on
David has
a
different perspective on it than we do. And he, I think, shies away from it because he doesn't want to talk about it. That's it.
And I honestly, again, I appreciate that you guys do this, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, isn't it good that you guys focus on this, but maybe it's also simultaneously good that he focuses on different stuff? Now, I didn't see the Sam Harris interview.
I don't care.
I will see that later today or something.
We have different opinions on this show as to what David Pakman's responsibilities are in this realm. Emma has said as a blanket statement, she feels if you are in the progressive space, that you should be coming out on this.
But you're not the Pope of the Democratic policy.
No, Emma just has an opinion.
Like you would make fun of Ben Shapiro. Like
she
you
just
can't
has
just
an
decide
opinion.
what someone has to decide to do.
No.
This is your show, so you decide
dude,
what to
I'm
do.
not making a proclamation.
What are you doing right now?
I am in a car.
You're the bishop calling in to say, you can't say you have an opinion about this. We answered an IM. You're acting like a child. You know what, dude?
No. Again,
are you a member of this program? Are you a member of this program?
That you guys make a clip about David Pakman.
Are you a member of this program?
And then you just move on.
Are you a member of this program?
We didn't just move on. I just said it. We just spent 10 minutes on the phone you.
Right. I'm saying not from my call. I'm saying that's why I brought this topic up, is that it would come up.
Because I don't give a shit. We're covering our thing.
Why is it okay? Wait a second.
Not
Why
that you're
is
not
it
addressing
okay?
this right now.
Why is it okay in your mind that David does not need to cover Israel Palestine, but it's not okay that we're not covering David?
No, I'm sorry. That's not the framing I was going with. I apologize.
Well, I got news for you,
way.
dude. You've been on the phone for 10 minutes, and that's the framing that has really come across.
Okay, well, I'm not well versed in, obviously podcasting or radio shows. I mean, so I'm doing the best that I can, just like perhaps you guys are, just perhaps David Pakman is.
Yes, that's right. Okay, I'm glad
Right.
we could. I'm glad we could come to an agreement. All right, thank you.
I'm
I'm sorry. Did I cut you off? Unbelievable.
I can't tell if he wants us to go at David or if he wants us to not. Like,
I don't
What
understand it
are
either.
these sideline comments I'm saying? I'm saying he shouldn't talk with Steve Schmidt about how the left is crazy. Like that is not like, I don't.
no, and I'll be explicit. If you're not covering this genocide, calling it what it is, calling it at the very least war crimes, as a central part of your coverage as a progressive and liberal commentator, I will never trust you ever again, and I don't think your audience should either. So that's my assessment of it. If you're not dedicating a significant portion of your coverage to this, then I do not trust your moral authority on other elements of politics. And frankly, I think you're in it for a little bit more about yourself than you are about actually making a difference and communicating issues the right way. That's my assessment. I hope that clarified it for people.
From midfield.
I'm mad about the background stuff. That's all I know. That was really productive. I
Sometimes I wanna know how
why
people
aren't
hear
you
me.
making a video why aren't you making the videos I want you to make? Is that what that call is?
Should have went with the sanctimonious stuff, bro.
Oh, right. That's how that started.